Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party, and I am getting ready to work on my Hello Flashcard Sunday Flashcard Builder project. I kind of made a mistake. I only have two USB ports, and for some reason I can't use a USB hub on this laptop. I used to be able to use one, but there was some update or something like that, and ever since then I couldn't use one. So I only have two ports, so I took my keyboard out so I could put my flash USB flash in so that I could copy these out. And it looks like I have like 4 gigs that I'm copying over. They're saying it's going to take about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So I'm going to have to not use my keyboard during that time. So, anyways, it looks like I need to come in here and I'm going to shut this one down. So, Control C. And I'm going to go into my flashcard project. Now, I really like this project a lot. And I think that this project is going to be like a life-changing project for me. Like, I think my life will be better, you know, if when this project is done. I think I'll use it all of the time to make flashcards and all that. And it's really neat looking, and it's like a Angular material first type of application. Um, so that is good. I've always wanted to make a project like this. I don't know why this isn't coming up. Um, there we go. I always wanted to make a project like this, but I never did. And then um, I kind of had this great idea. I for a little while I delivered pizzas, because I had a really hard time finding a new job this last time. And so I was delivering pizzas mostly like as because I had delivered pizzas in the 80s and 90s. So I just kind of wanted to see what it was like again today, which is like it's so different. Um, and So I was like, the problem is you are under duress the whole time today when you're delivering pizza. So it used to be you kind of like got to rely, like if you worked an 8-hour shift delivering pizzas, probably 4 hours of it you were in your car just relaxed, just doing whatever you felt like doing. And then you drive from point A to point B. That was your time. Then you get out of the car and then you do the interaction and then you get back out of the car. And then, okay, good. Let me start this. You get back out of your car and then you go into the job and then you wash dishes, you clean floors, whatever. You do whatever you need to till you get your next run, and then you hop on and do it again. And it was like you had a lot of downtime, but it's not like that anymore because um, they have like you're interfacing with their I think it was called Dragon or something like that. You're interfacing with that the whole time, so it just takes all of your mental capacity, even when you're driving in between, to get the instructions right. Um, and then they would give you so so you're interfacing, so and you're trying to get that, so it's really difficult to keep track of like how much you have coming in tips and stuff like that. And then at the end of the night they do a really complex sort of cash out scheme where it's like almost impossible to determine if you got paid right or not. So I wanted to build like this little voice activated thing because my hands are just constantly occupied. And I would be like, oh, order number 531, and then uh, maybe like the address or something, and then what the tip was. And then at the end of the night, I could have like a table that showed me what all my tips were and where I got them and what I should expect. So that is not feasible. That dream is not feasible in voice, and the reason it's not feasible is because you have to be online, and I wanted to use sort of an old phone that was offline, and you have to be online because it has to go through the cloud. Um, so it doesn't work because my whole desire, the whole thing I wanted to do, doesn't work at all. So I spent like a year, maybe 2 years, like sort of just really trying to understand the API, and then I understood the API, and then I built like some testing things in Angular and interfaces and stuff like that, and it's been good. And now I came up with two projects I wanted to work on, and this is one of them. And this one, there we go, we're done. And this one, was going to be um, the challenging one. I mean, this one was going to be one of them. And the thing is when you're when so as we're working on these things, we're okay. So this was going to be a super, or this is going to be challenging. It's going to make flashcards. It's going to be like the system that can import and export flashcards and stuff like that. And I'll probably build like a whole nother application that knows how to show flashcards. This is just going to be like sort of the flashcard creation scheme. But I think it's only going to be good for a little bit. And then, because once I have a kind of a nice set of them, then I'll be able to just feed it to ChatGPT and say, hey, this is my structure. Can you make me flashcards about such and such? But I did one thing I thought was this might end up being like a really good way of learning flashcards, learning data because you have to, if you speak it and you read it and then you edit it and then you uh, all that, then your chances of remembering it go way higher. It's kind of a like a really good way to kind of condition your brain to know exactly what you're trying to memorize and what you're not trying to memorize. So that's what this like kind of is all about. But anyways, it looks like we wanted to. So right now, I think you can turn this on, the microphone on. I feel like maybe allow this time. I feel like maybe these buttons shouldn't be enabled. But I think you're going to be able to type in, so it doesn't matter. But anyways, if you say select prompt, then everything we speak will start to appear in this. See, and as you see right now, every single time I say anything, it gets overwritten. But what if I wanted to append? So that's what this button is. Um, you're going to click this button, and then if you want to toggle back to overwrite, you'll toggle here. And we ended up creating like a really good, like I learned a lot um, by select response. Um, we learned a lot about communication and stuff like that, or like setting up communication schemes, singleton and non-singleton communication schemes by, um, by making um, services that aren't singleton services. They're services that are limited. And as you see, like I can click this overwrite, and then this is talking across signals, and it's only on this one. And then like how I click this one. So, and that was sort of the point. So, anyways, it is a bit buggy, right? Like, cause like if I'm over here, I shouldn't come back here and get this, like so. There's some things that need to go on, but I guess the best thing will be to get the append working. So when we're done, when we hit, if this is an append mode, it won't overwrite, it will append it. So that is next now. Okay, so my unit test, I mean my copy to the USB drive is done. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get out of, I'm going to remove disconnect the USB device. So I just went in and just marked it for disconnected. It said it's safe to remove. Now I have actually been told and actually experienced that if you remove it while it's doing stuff, the whole thing breaks in very weird ways. And I definitely have broken this in very weird ways because there are definitely like I can create directories and drag files in, and it consumes the space and it takes a long time, and then I can't get to the files. And I'm pretty sure it's because I at some point I took it out while it was writing, or maybe I lost power while it was writing or something. I don't know. But anyways, as you see, this is still doing its thing. It's still listening. So now let's go and find our append. And I think I actually have a README in this one. That has like tasking that I set aside for myself. Okay, I think this is done. Step, create a service that each gatherer has its own version so I can use a signal that's isolated to each one. Yeah, so we're done with that one. All right. Oh, control copy, control paste. There we go. And I guess we don't need this note anymore. And that was really, this is not right. This is actually incorrect. This was given to me by ChatGPT. It's absolutely incorrect. All right, step 7. Create a clear button for the prompt. Do I have a clear button? Did I just skip? That's so funny. I just skipped. All right, so next to this, I guess we want the clear. Want a clear button. Now, I don't know why I'm not using pretty buttons. Um, and we actually create an overwrite versus append toggle for prompt. Create a clear button for result. Oh, okay, so we want a clear button inside a prompt. That's the goal right now. So let's close everything else for the moment. Close others. And then we want to find our gatherers, and we care about prompt. All right, so okay, so we actually have controls, app gatherer controls, and I think both share the same controls. So that means they're both going to get clear buttons. And so this really would not be possible if it wasn't for, this would be very, the way we have this would be very, very weird if it wasn't for the signals being isolated. I don't know how we would do this. Okay, so we want this. It's like, I guess life's too short for ugly buttons. Let's go find editor. Let's go to our app controls. So button, class, map button, outlined. Okay, so this is what we want. There's no reason to not have pretty buttons. So we'll do that first. Now, I don't know if we have the um, map button module imported. And I feel like this is one of the most confusing things about Angular material is in this situation, nothing's going to break. But if we use map button, then it would break if we haven't had it imported. And so we aren't importing the map button. So Matt, and I like to do this stuff from memory because I find that it makes my brain work better. Map button module. There we go. See if it looks better now. Oh yeah. All right, so then the next step will be to set up our clear. Okay. We're going to change this to clear. And we're going to say clear. And like sometimes your clear clear information. And so this is just going to result in a signal getting fired that doesn't exist yet. So, you know, it's like when you control copy, control. So like when you it's hard because well the thing that's tricky is like should we have started at the service and built out the signal and worked our way to the front end, or should we to the browser to the UI, or should we start at the template and worked our way back through the control and up the lines? And it doesn't really matter, but you just have to get started one way, whichever is more comfortable for you. You know, if like fleshing out the services and all the underlying things is easier for you, then go for it. If it's easier, I think that that might even be like a pretty good indicator of whether you're like a visual thinker or whether you're the other kind of thinker. I guess the other kind is the normal thinker. So, um, right. So now all these guys can just fire a signal off. Now, normally, like I think you could do it directly in the button, and that would solve a lot of your problems. And generally, if I'm consuming stuff into the template, I like to consume it straight from the service. But if I'm sending things, I like to go through like the TypeScript intermediary. The only reason I like getting it directly from the service on the template is because it avoids a lot of like the dependency update or value updated before the template can be updated or some there's like a console warning that you'll get. It avoids that really well. The reason I like to do it in here, if at all possible, or I would prefer to do it in here. If that wasn't the case, I would prefer to do it in the TypeScript. And the reason for that is because you can mutate it and do stuff. Um, Now, I guess it's not, I guess you can, now that I think about it, and I think we've done that before, you can actually mutate it from the template. You can call the function directly and then it can return whatever you want. Um, but I think that on the up, you want to go through here. If you need to do something, you can do it. So anyways, I'm going to go into my service. And this is something I don't do often, so I just don't like the way I did that service. I don't usually, so I'm having gather control. I feel like, oh, okay, I see why. So I only have three services, so I guess it would make, I feel like it would make more sense to have this service in here, but I don't know. For now, we'll go with this. Okay, publish clear command. Let's see. I want to do something very much like this. This is not, I'm kind of working on something at work that's kind of like this, and this is not a good way to expose these. There we had a read only. We have one of these, and then we have a like a read only signal, and then we listen to the read only signal, not that, but not this signal. But anyways, clear control message, clear command, and basically, I guess it's gonna set a number, and then 0. And then so that is our how many times we've, and let's go clear command count. So this is how many times it's been requested. We'll save the very first time we'll save the current count, and if the count changes, then we'll clear. So if the count is different than if we different than the count we currently have saved, we'll clear it. I think that'll work. I'm pretty sure that'll work. All right, so I'm going to say increment clear count. And the one thing that, and it's probably pretty easy to understand what I'm about to say if you've been riding along. Um, but in the future, it'll probably be very difficult to understand this. We're at like sort of an inflection point where it's easy to, there's certain things where it's easier to learn. And this is only limited to our gatherers. So to each gatherer. So when I click this, it's only going to talk to the gatherer. And that's why it'd be kind of nice to have the service in here. because I just think it would be easier visually, but logically it makes a lot of sense for it to be here in services too. And where we only have three services, I just kind of want to just keep them together. So is life easier visually to understand everything because of it lives in the gatherers folder, or is it easier to understand because it lives with the rest of the services? That's always going to be a it is always going to be a challenge. So let's just do this. This dot clear command count dot set. I think there was like I actually had learned a new thing, a way of incrementing the current value. Um, and I can't remember exactly how I did that. Okay, so I have, okay, so anyways, I have this signal. Its value in a function. And then you have to think to yourself, yeah, that was what I ran. This is new to me. Um, I like that too. That's really nice. I don't think that was in Angular 17, but I think it came out like in Angular 19 or Angular 20. And it's just so much cleaner. Well, it's just so much. I like it's like a lot less words and just as useful. I feel like that's just as useful. Maybe not. I don't know. But so now we want to call this directly. So anytime they push the button, this gets called. Anything that's listening will know it got called. All right, so let's go back. Wrong one. In our gathers, in our gather controls. See, this happens for both of them. And this dot gather controls publish service dot increment clear count. And then up in our gatherer for our response, since we're prompt is the one that's we're working on, I'm going to say get, so this is the message and this is the count. And I'll put like in parentheses. So it's a little easier to read. Clear count. I think this is going to work. It's not control message, it's something count. Let's see if it gives it to me. Clear command count. Thank you. Sometimes that pops up and helps, and sometimes it doesn't. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. Now, so if we come over here, we can also listen to the. We can actually do this, have this exact same thing. And like deep down inside, I'm just constantly thinking these these really should be one these prompt and response should be one control, one component. So you see we only have one there. So if I say clear now that, and you see that they're still independent. Now it's in overwrite mode with a clear count of 1. This is in overwrite mode, then with a clear count of 7. Right, so we haven't cleared anything, but now we're overwriting. So whatever text was in there should stay in there. And if we hit clear, it should clear it. If we're saying overwrite, it should overwrite it. If we're saying append, it should append to it. Okay, let's put a little note for so we come up to speed faster next time because I don't think the note was like the last note was old. Okay, so we're done with this one, so that's good. We're done with step 7. And then we want to create a clear prompt button for prompt, and we already did this too. That's what we did last week. Create button for result. And we're done with this one. And that was probably supposed to be for result. And we're done with that one. And then when the response command should result in the response div. Okay, so we do not have that one. That would probably be a really good next step for next time. So basically what I'm saying is that if I have this on, if I turn my microphone on and I say select response, when I talk, it should show up in here, not over here. So that is the next task for next week. And then I don't know what happens after that, but we'll figure that out. I'm trying to think like, okay, so once we get that where we can get the text we want in here and the text we want in there, which we still have some more steps before we're going to have that. Just because right now it's like if I collect prompt, it's going to, well, yeah. So I think what happens, so if I select response, okay, I have selected response. Oh, well. It thinks I said hello. That's funny. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I'm in the response. Okay, that's fixed. But right now it should be in append. But this one isn't. This one isn't updating, so we'd really like that one. I'm not sure why that worked. Okay, okay, so now it's doing what I was afraid of, right? So if I come in here and I say something and then I go back to select prompt, select prompt, select prompt. See, so yeah, so anyway, so that's a problem, right? So the timing and all that, but it's going to be a little, I think it'll be a lot easier to fix it. I don't think it'll be harder to fix it. I think it'll be easier to fix it once all the different pieces are working. But once we get stuffed in these two, then we'll be able to say create response, and then it'll add it to like the list of stored prompt response pairs. And then we'll be able to export that into a CSV or into a JSON, probably into a JSON. No, probably into I don't know. Should I do it in a CSV or a JSON? I think for JSON is so much more easier to read, but CSV is just, you can use that in Excel and that's really nice too. But anyways, everybody, happy coding. Have a wonderful week. It's Sunday. So from me and from Rhett, we hope you guys have a great week. Woo! Come on, Rhett. Come on, girl. Say something nice to everybody. No? Nothing? Really? Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.